Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So let us go ahead with our today's discussion. I'm going to share with you all the PPT. So here it go. So everything is fine. If you are able to see me, if you are able to hear me nicely, you can write down in the chat box everything fine or okay, or just simply Hare Krishna. Yes? Okay. Thank you so much, all of you. Yes, everything is fine. Everything is set. So let's go ahead. So in 17th chapter, these all things we'll be seeing as usual. So recap. Let's see what we discussed in chapter 16. So if you remember, we discussed divine quality and demonic quality, right? In chapter 16. So from first to third sloka, all the 26 divine qualities Lord Krishna is describing, 26 divine qualities. That starts from fearlessness. Fearlessness is the first which has been described by Krishna to be the divine quality. Then we saw there are quite number of demoniac qualities described by Krishna. And then we see how the demoniac qualities is actually gives different types of destiny. Divine and demoniac, two types of nature, gives different types of destiny for different people, those who actually become host of those qualities. So ultimately, demoniac people's slogan, their slogan is, there is no God in this world and there is no God in control. We are the controllers. So this is their slogan. And we see how this demoniac quality people, they behave. How they behave, their work is very much horrible. They are always engaged in very much destructive activities. Their activities is filthy, very dirty. They are always proud. They are always in false proud. Then we see how they slowly become illusioned and they fall down into hellish conditions of life. Forget about going to hell. Many times they live into this life, in this life, very hellishly. So then we saw how we can come out from these demonic qualities, how we can come out from the consequences of these demonic qualities as well. There we saw Lord Krishna tells very plainly to Arjuna, "Oh Arjuna, if you really want to avoid the hellish experience of these demonic qualities, so you need to avoid 3 gates to hell." So what are those 3 gates? First gate is lust, second gate is anger, and third gate is greed. So lust, anger, greed, these are the 3 gates to hell. So these 3 gates every human being must avoid if really they want to bypass or just avoid to going to hellish condition of life. So they must avoid these 3 gates. So many times people say that, oh, hell, who has seen? Who has seen hell and heaven? But we see hell and heaven into this world only. There are many people, maybe very wealthy people also. If they are not able to control these 3 urges of greed, anger, and lust, then their very beautiful life, very very much well accomplished life also turns into miserable life and hellish life. And just to get many times, just to come out from that miserable life, not seeing any hope, and they many times commit suicide. So we see how Lord Krishna is giving this clue for every human being, how to avoid that. So we should do all those activities which is favorable for liberation. We should go toward light. From darkness, we should go toward light. That's what Lord Krishna is telling. And ultimately, we should attain to that transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness. And how we can do that? By reading scriptures. We should follow what scripture says, what Bhagavad Gita says. So this was all about chapter 16. Now let's go ahead to the main discussion of chapter 17. So this chapter 17 is divided into 6 sections. So from 1st to 7th, we shall be discussing what are the different types of faith, according to different modes. So there are 3 modes we know on. So the previous chapter, in 14th chapter, we saw there are 3 modes working in this world. Practically in every aspect of the world is being run by 3 modes. Okay, there are 3 modes, like a 3 rope, which someone unseen is just playing around with these 3 ropes. So we see people around in this world also having, there are 3 kind of faith. So we will see also how there are food items also in 3 modes. There are food items also in 3 modes. We will see how from 11 to 13 sloka, we will see how yajna, the sacrifice, is also in 3 mode. Then we shall be seeing from 14th to 19th sloka, there are many people, they do different types of austerity to get something, to get some result or get some influence among people, to get their political whims fulfilled. They do some austerity, but how this austerity also divided into 3 modes. Okay, so then we'll see from 20th to 22nd sloka how this charity is also divided into 3 modes, and ultimately we shall be seeing from 23rd to 28th sloka what is the art of connecting everything with Supreme Person. Okay, so that's actually the pinnacle success of everything we do. Whatever we do, if that could be connected with Supreme Absolute Truth, then that is perfection. That is perfection of everything. Okay, so Krishna gives the technique how we can connect all sorts of things with Supreme Absolute Truth. Okay, so now let's go ahead to the first section of our discussion today, from 1st sloka till 7th sloka, where Lord Krishna describes faith of different types of people. In just in the previous chapter, we have seen Lord Krishna has told, see Arjuna, there are 2 types of people. There are some demoniac and some divine. Those who are demoniac, they won't follow any shastra. They just do anything just contrary to shastra. They won't follow shastra. Okay, shastra will say to do this, and they will do perfectly opposite of that. So they are actually categorized into demoniac, and those who are actually following the shastra, they are called to be divine. So there are 3 modes. Now this all divine and demoniac has been very systematically categorized into this chapter into 3 modes. So Arjuna is asking, oh Lord Krishna, there are people, they have some faith, but they are not following any scriptures. So how we can understand this, whether they are in goodness, passion, and ignorance? Okay, so there are many people in this world. They have different types of faith. There's some people, they worship different kind of thing. They have great faith. They show a lot of faith toward such type of entities, but they could not be the top class thing, which according to Krishna here in Bhagavad Gita he tells. So there are different gradations of faith. So we will be seeing Lord Krishna is telling Trividha Bhavati Shraddha. Supreme Personality Godhead is saying, according to modes of nature acquired by the embodied soul, one's faith can be of 3 kinds: in goodness, in passion, in ignorance. So now hear about this. So 3 types of faith. So some are in goodness, some people they put faith in passion, and some people they put faith into ignorance. What is that? So Lord Krishna goes ahead. Those people, those are in goodness, they put faith into divine personalities, or specifically devatas or demigods. Okay, so there are different representative of supreme God working in this world. We know that there are Vayu, there is Agni, there is Indra, the Chandra, Surya. So they are not just entities which has been control, like which having no control of anyone. There are people controlling everything. So this is very very scientific. There are sometimes people that say that, oh, Sanatan Dharma is such a hetero theistic type of religion. Here there are so many gods, but there are no so many gods. There is only one God, but there are many representative of God, taking care of different departments, and they exist. It doesn't mean it's not like they won't exist. They exist also. So there are some divine, there are goodness. The people those are in goodness, they worship those demigods. Those are of different representative. They are the head of different departments. Okay, so those who are in mode of passion, they worship demons. Okay, demons, they make their own uh, icon. They make their own icons, and they worship. Like, you find there are many people in somewhere in the 1940s who used to worship Hitler. He was such a heinous guy. He killed thousands of people, specifically Jews, in gas chamber, and his decisions were perfectly whimsical. And there are many people those who are worshiping him like this. There are many people, they worship uh, they worship for some time being their own icons and their own what's called heroes, so-called heroes, and in this way they put their faith. So this is contrary to Shastra. In Shastra, it's not mentioned that you should put faith on someone like you put faith on somebody very powerful. No. So, but those who are in ignorance, they do even more worst thing. What do they do worship? They worship ghosts. They worship ghosts. They go in jungle, and sometimes they worship different ghosts, and they worship trees and where ghosts are living. Very horrible. So there are three types of Shraddha. So now we see how Lord Krishna is telling that Arjuna, how you can identify who is demon, who is demoniac. I mean, demons means people those who have taken the attitude of demonic attitude. Okay, demonic attitude means those who are in mode of passion. They won't follow any rules and regulations, as well as they whatever they feel like. So what they do, those who undergo severe austerities and penances not recommended in the scriptures, performing them out of pride and egoism, who are impelled by lust and attachment, who are foolish, and who torture material elements of the body, as well as the super soul dwelling within, are to be known as demons. So there are many people who do a lot of austerities, and a lot of they do they do strive so much just to prove themselves that they are great. Okay, so many times they do just for the sake of to show others that how great they are. So this is actually demonic quality. The life lesson for all of us is many political leaders, also political party leaders, they do this type of uh, this type of what's called this type of thing where they go for hunger strike, and they for months and months they do this hunger strike, and because of that what happens, they create such a turmoil in political atmosphere. Why? Because so many people will start voting him, start supporting him, just to grab some post. Okay, so political hunger strikes for grabbing post and pulling someone down is surely demoniac. Devotees of Krishna should not get along with them. Okay, so now let's go ahead to section 2. Section 2, in which Lord Krishna is actually dividing food also in three modes. So there are some food in mode of goodness, and what they do, what is the symptom, and what is the mode of action of these foods. Foods dear to those in mode of goodness increase the duration of life, purify one's existence, and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. So such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. Okay. So these are food in mode of goodness, and they they give better health to us. They give better health, better strength, happiness and satisfaction. Similarly, there is something in mode of passion. So how do they act, these foods? Like those are in mode of passion. Foods that are too bitter, too sour, salty, hot, pungent, dry, and burning are dear to those in the mode of passion. Such foods causes distress, misery, and disease. So there are many people they like this type of thing, like uh, too much masala, too much of uh, what's called chili powder, and this also, and they really enjoy too much bitter, something too much sour. So they like it so much, and after that they just dump their belly, and after that they have so many problems. They just keep running to the bathroom. So we see dukkha shokama maya prada. This type of food, they create so much problem in our life. So this is more this type of food is actually more of passion. Of course, we should try to avoid them. So then there are some types of food in mode of ignorance. What is that? Food prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten. Food that is tasteless, decomposed, and putrid. And food consisting of remnants and untouchable things is dear to those in the mode of darkness. Okay, there are many people in India, specifically, also we see. So they eat all rotten things. They many times they drink wine, which is nothing but food being decomposed and strained out some alcohol out of it after decomposing. So, so this type of food is actually mode of ignorance. They create horrible effect in our life and our body. So, life lesson is simply we should avoid these foods in mode of passion and ignorance. To just forget the doctor bills. We really want to live a very happy life without getting into so much of this medical complications. So we should simply take goodness, like food in the mode of goodness. So I see also, like since the time I'm chanting the names of Lord Hari, as well as I'm taking this food, like hardly I visited doctor for last maybe around some 11 or 12 years. I'm practicing this Krishna consciousness. So I've been introduced specifically. There is a great power in food which is offered to the Supreme God, Krishna. Okay. So of course Krishna, he won't accept any food in mode of passion and mode of ignorance. He accepts food only in mode of goodness. That too when it is offered with great love. And that food becomes very, very supremely powerful. It purifies whole existence. It is told Ahara Suddhi Sattva Siddhi. When our food is pure, and that pure food, when it comes in contact with our body, and our body is made up of food only, right? Every single cell of the body is made of the food itself. Okay, what food we take, what oxygen we take, what water we take, things gets amalgamated, and all the different tissues, different types of proteins, everything starts getting created. So when the food is being put very nicely, everything is perfect. That too sanctified, consecrated food offered to Supreme Lord. That's called Mahaprasad. Oh, I mean, nothing is compared with that. And you just forget all the misery in life. You just forget going to the doctor and fearing so much. So this is actually magic. So Krishna is telling that these are things. He's not telling. See, whole Bhagavad Gita is given in a suggestive way. Krishna is telling that do this, you can do this, this is better. This is goodness is good, passion is okay, ignorance is horrible. So Bhagavad Gita is spoken in a very suggestive way. But those who are intelligent people, they should understand this, and they must accept the good thing. So, but we see the higher literatures like Bhagavatam and all, they are more into loving way. They directly speak what is good, what is good, what is bad, that's bad. Okay, so many times people just claim that Krishna has not told in Bhagavad Gita you should take only this food and you should not take that food. So just to clear that, now let's go ahead. Section 3, how Krishna is going to divide sacrifice in 3 modes. Okay, So there are sacrifices in mode of goodness. What is that? Sacrifice performed according to directions of the scriptures as a matter of duty by those who desire no reward is of the nature of goodness. So we see the example of King Harishchandra. There was a king named Harishchandra in the history of India. So this king, somehow or other, by the curse of Vishwamitra, he became Chandal. What is the duty of Chandal? He has to be there on the bank of Ganges, and he has to burn all that corpses coming. He is like, and what happened by the destiny? His wife came with that Harishchandra's son. So, and when this Harishchandra saw that, my son has come, but he started behaving just like a normal man. He told us, see, you have to give, you have to give some tax to me. What is the tax? You have to give cloth, you have to give that. And he was just performing his duty. This is called sacrifice. Okay, sacrifice according to scriptures and desiring no reward. So this is called sacrifice in mode of goodness. Similarly, we see mode of passion. Sacrifice performed for some material benefits. So there are many such type of rituals and sacrifices which are being performed to get something. There in the scriptures also it is mentioned, in Rig Veda also it's mentioned that you do this, then you will get that. So there are many demigods, they are approached just to get these material rewards. So those are more into mode of passion. Okay. So now there is ignorance also. So ignorance, sacrifice in ignorance performed without regard of directions of the scriptures, without distribution of prasadam, spiritual food, without chanting of Vedic hymns and remuneration to the priests, and without faith is considered to be the mode of ignorance. Nowadays, it has become custom. Practically, Brahmanas are completely extinct from India, and very few, good Brahmanas are there. And I see at one place in Bengal, one so-called Brahmana was doing some yajna, some type of sacrifice, in which he was chanting some mantras which had been not mentioned anywhere in the Shastra. He was chanting e u u ga kha ga ga om phat 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 like this. And there are people, those who are his client. They are called Yajman. So they are so faithfully they are just listening to that all so-called rubbish mantras, which is not mentioned in any scriptures. So we see there are many people that do this type of yajnas, which is not mentioned in the Shastra. And they, of course, they won't offer anything to the Supreme Lord Vishnu, Yaggo by Vishnu. So they won't offer any prasadam also. So these type of sacrifices is actually into mode of ignorance. So Piyush Hadialji, you have raised your hand. So I like to take all those questions after this session. So please keep your questions in part. I'll take all that questions, whatever you have. So now let's go to section 4. 3 types of austerity and their further 3 divisions in modes. So there are 3 types of austerity. Austerity of body. Austerity of body means austerity of the body consists in the worship of Supreme Lord, the Brahmana, the spiritual master, the superiors like father, mother, and in fullness, simplicity, celebration, non-violence. So these are the austerity of the body, where one should worship Supreme Lord. One should worship Brahmanas, the real Brahmanas, the spiritual master, Guru, and superiors like father and mother. He should remain clean. He should remain simple inside and outside. He should try to maintain celibacy and non-violence. Similarly, there is austerity of speech. Okay. Oh, what is that? Austerity of speech, consisting in speaking words they are truthful. So truthful words. Satyam. Pleasing. It should be pleasing, not like you speak anytime you just open your mouth, it's agitate someone. Okay. We should not speak something to agitate nearby people. So that should be beneficial. that should be beneficial. Also, that should be corroborated with the shastric references. Okay, so this is austerity of speech. Very difficult to see nowadays, this type of speech, which is truthful, pleasing, beneficial, not agitating to others. And similarly, we see there are austerity of mind. What is that austerity of mind? Satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control, and purification of one's existence are the austerities of mind. So these all austerities, austerities of body, austerities of words, austerity of mind, has been again divided into three modes. So here we will see why these austerities should be done. There are people they actually act through their body, act through their mind, act through their words, but they are into these three modes. So now let's go ahead. Austerity in mode of goodness. So austerity of body, austerity of speech, austerity of mind. When these all three things will be done with very great transcendental faith, without material benefits. So for the sake of supreme, then it is called austerity in mode of goodness. Similarly, so example is, the famous example of Prahlad. So Prahlad Maharaj, such a wonderful, great devotee of Supreme Lord Krishna. So he did such type of austerity of body, speech, and mind, always connected with Krishna, connected for the sake of Krishna. So this type of austerities is the best austerity. This threefold austerity performed with transcendental faith by men not expecting material benefits for the sake of Supreme. Similarly, we have austerity in mode of passion. So austerity of body, austerity of speech, austerity of mind, when it is done for out of pride, to gain respect, honor, and worship. There are some people that do austerity just to show others that how great austere personality they are. No, they do different types of activity just to show others that they are so great. They are so much religious. So their results are not permanent. Their results are temporary. Today they actually become famous, and tomorrow the same austerity what they are doing will make them high. Means all people will put spit upon them and they say, what did you do? So we see there are many so-called sages in India. They had a lot of fan following, and they are supposed to be like, they are thought to be like they are a second god. But later on, they are actually found somewhere in bars, somewhere behind bar. So we see example of Hiranyakashipu. This is the ideal example. Hiranyakashipu, father of Prahlad. So he was of that. He had this all austerity done in mode of passion. A lot of desire for name and fame. He wanted to become practically God, or second God. He wanted to become God itself, God himself. He wanted to just become immortal, never to die. So this type of austerity is actually very temporary. This type of result also, whatever one get by doing this type of austerity, is very temporary. And mode of ignorance, austerity of body, austerity of speech, austerity of mind, when it is done just for the sake of creating havoc in the society or doing something bad to the people around us. So out of foolishness, this type of people, there are some type of people they do. So famous example of Brikasur. So this person, Brikasur, he was a good man, but somehow or other he got into pleasing Lord Shiva. So he started chanting the names of Lord Shiva, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, like this, and Lord Shiva not appearing. So ultimately, what he thought, that out of frustration, he started killing himself. He started chopping his own head, and just he was about to chop his head and put into the fire. So Lord Shiva immediately appeared. He started rebuking this Brikasur, that useless fellow. I am simply happy with his little bit Ganga water and Bilva Patra. So why you just have taken this type of austerity? So he told, oh, you have appeared. Thank you so much. I'm so much obliged, my dear God. So please give me boon that I get power of cracking anybody's head, whoever no I touch on the head. So anybody whoever head I will touch, and his head will just simply crack into pieces. So Lord Shiva was thinking, my God, such a horrible type of person and such a horrible boon he's asking. Why? Just to create problem into the society. I know when Lord Shiva given sanctioned this boon, this fellow Vrikashur started running after Lord Shiva himself to kill him. So there are people who do austerities to harm others. Now let's go to section 5. We will be seeing how this charity is also divided into 3 modes. The charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place and to a worthy person is considered to be in mode of goodness. Mode of passion, charity performed with the expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive result in a grudging mood is said to be a charity in mode of passion. Okay. So mode of goodness means you give to the best person. You know that these people are trustworthy and they are not going to misutilize or just do something wrong with my money and with my things what I gave in charity. So they are in mode of goodness. But there are many people that do charity in mode of passion. Passion means just they give for the sake of, okay, I'm giving today, tomorrow it will return back. See, you can find in different places. They come, you give this money, then God will take care of you, something like that. So then there are mode of ignorance. Donation, the charity in mode of ignorance. The charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons or without proper attention and respect is said to be in the mode of ignorance. So we see many people just they mock to be, they are mocking to be like they're beggars, but they are professional beggars. And many people when they specifically in India when we travel, so these beggars will keep coming like anything, and they ask, oh, give me something, and after that they do all nonsense with that money. So this is actually a charity mode of ignorance. So we must know what is charity mode of goodness at first. Mode of goodness means one should give charity, we must give charity to the right person who is actually connected with Supreme Godhead and at the right place. There are some right places where charity could be given, like on the bank of Ganges. On the bank of Ganges, one should give charity. On the holy places, holy tirthas, there are a number of holy tirthas in India, like one is Siddha Mayapur, one is Vrindavan, one is Dwarka. So these are the holy places where one can give charity. And so charity is having very great result mentioned in the Shastras. But this charity is many times misutilized and exploited, this concept of charity, by many people, and they create problem in the society. The life lesson for all of us is we should not squander money which is one of the energy of Krishna, to scrupulous charity organizations and people whose character is questionable. But we should utilize that in the service of Krishna. So charity, whatever we have, is nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna, Narayana. Because Lakshmi, we understand Lakshmi means the money. Lakshmi belongs to Krishna, Lakshmi Pati. Okay. So that should be engaged in service of Krishna alone. That is actually the real utilization, real charity. So I'll take all the questions. Please keep your questions. So let me go ahead with my flow. So we are just about to complete, and I'll take all the questions. Thank you. So let's go ahead. So we have discussed this section 6, the last section. So connecting with Supreme, how to connect with all things with the Supreme. So many of your questions will get cleared here. So whatever we are doing, that should be connected with Supreme. Then only it becomes perfected. So Lord Krishna here gives a very simple trick how to connect with the Supreme. Whatever we do should be done in a proper consciousness, chanting a mantra, very special mantra. That's called Om Tat Sat. From the beginning of creation, the three words Om Tat Sat were used to indicate supreme absolute truth. These three symbolic representations were used by Brahmanas while chanting hymns of Vedas and during sacrifices for the satisfaction of supreme. So, and how this Om Tat Sat, different words like Om, Tat, and Sat, having different purposes, different objectives to be fulfilled. Om is a word used by all transcendentalists from time immemorial. Om is a word used by all transcendentalists from like bygone ages. Bygone ages, for the material world, time is eternal. Time, there is no beginning of time. And Veda is also eternal. And every Vedic mantra starts with Om. It starts with Om. Means every action which is mentioned in the Shastra is actually to be connected with Supreme. Okay. So therefore, transcendentalists undertaking performance of sacrifice, charity, penances, these all things are very nicely mentioned in the Shastras. Why it has mentioned, which will be described in the next chapter, of course. Okay. So accordance with the scriptural regulations, begin always with Om. Why? To attain the Supreme. Then comes word Tat. Tat word frees one from material entanglement. Without desiring fruitive result, one should perform various kinds of sacrifice, penance, and charity with the word Tat. The purpose of such transcendental activity is to get free from material entanglement. Tat means that. That means that. That means Krishna or the absolute truth. So this, whatever charity, whatever austerity, whatever you are giving is for the satisfaction of Tat. Tat means that. So comes Sat next. Om Tat Sat. Absolute truth is the objective of devotional service. Sad bhave, sadhu bhave cha. Sad iti atrayujyate. Absolute truth is the objective of devotional sacrifice, and it is indicated by the word Sat. So Sat means absolute truth. We have seen many times. Sat means something which is eternal. Which is eternal. Okay, so that's absolute truth. A performance of sacrifice is called Sat, as are all works of sacrifice, penance, charity, which true to the absolute nature are performed to please the Supreme Person. So when somebody, like suppose my name is Nitaichandra Nimai Das, so myself is doing some charity to someone. Okay, so if I'm doing for Sat, means for absolute truth, which is eternal. Like who is eternal? Who is Sat? Sat is Krishna. In India, specifically in North India, there is saying Ram Nam Satya Hai, Ram Nam Satya Hai. Only when somebody dies, then they speak like this. So this name of Lord Hari, and Lord Hari is Sat. So if I give charity to Lord Hari, so myself also becomes Sat, and the process of charity also becomes Sat. And Krishna is Sat, of course. So then three things, in a simple way, there are three entities. One is the performer of devotion. The devotion itself and the object of devotion, these three things become Sat when it is connected with Sat. Okay. Otherwise, it remains Asat. We do so many things. We do charity, we do tapasya, we do so many things. But when it's not connected with absolute truth, Sat, then we remain Asat. But when it's connected with Sat, then the process of connection and the person who is into this process of connection become also Sat. So this is the way to understand how we can actually connect everything with the Supreme Absolute Truth. So now we are at the conclusion. Lord Krishna himself concludes, Ashraddhaya hutam dattam tapastaptam kirtam chayat asadi uchyate partha na chatat pratyanoya. Anything done as sacrifice, charity or penance without faith in the Supreme, O son of Pritha, is impermanent. Whatever we do, we find like, no, I'm getting a lot of money, I'm getting a lot of things, but if I don't have any faith in Supreme Absolute Truth, that everything what we're getting by the mercy of Supreme Absolute Truth, and that should be engaged in his service, then mogasha moga karmana moga jnana vichayata, things become futile. Even though people, they have everything, but they are not able to really enjoy their life. They're not able to remain happy and satisfied. So ultimately, we have reached to our summary. We saw from first to seventh sloka how those people, those are in mode of goodness, they are the best people. Okay, but the best of the best people are those are in pure goodness. So those are in goodness, they worship all the demigods. Those are in pure goodness, they worship supreme God, Krishna. Okay, so we should try to come in pure goodness. Then come food. There are food also in mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Mode of goodness, food is best. And again, when it's connected with Krishna, then it's with Mahaprasadam. So that go beyond goodness, and that is best of the best for our whole existence, body, mind, soul, everything. So then comes sacrifice without motive, out of duty is best. There are many people that do sacrifices, but when those sacrifices is done without motive, just just doing out to be like Hare Krishna. So somehow there was some disconnection. But okay, so there are some net problem. So let's go ahead. So austerity should be done only for Krishna, that we saw. Then charity should be given to qualified Brahmana or the Vaishnavas, where we are perfectly assured that here charity is not going to be squandered into all dirty habits of some type of people to whom we are actually giving charity. Then we see faith in Supreme is the key of success in all attempts. Faith should be there with Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then we are able to connect everything, whatever we do, with Krishna, and then that all activities becomes on the par level of spiritual. I mean, it becomes transcendental. As I told you, whatever we do, if we connect with Krishna, then that becomes Sat. Otherwise, it remains Asat. So thank you so much. So this was today's 17th chapter we just completed. And next week, we will be seeing the last chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. If you have any question, any inquiry, any comment, you can go ahead. I got some question here with from Dipti Ranjan. How someone identify who is worthy of charity and who is not? Okay, so this is the question from Dipti Ranjan. Yeah. So here we can understand charity should be given to the specific person who is qualified at a particular good place. So of course, we can find a train is not a good place to give charity. Most of the time, people they do charity in trains. They do somewhere in charity organization, but we don't know that what is their credential, that whether they are able to, whether they are going to use that money in a good way or not. Like we are not sure. When we are not sure, then there is no use giving that money. But when we know that that money is going to be used for the supreme cause, so we must understand, I'm telling you very, very frankly, that when the money is used in service of God, that will create a special effect, and that effect is being reflected in every living entity's welfare. But somebody asked that, now please give me some charity, I'm going to do this philanthropic work and feeding this type of people, this many people. Just feeding people anybody can do, but there is not much much benefit out of it. But connecting people with Supreme God is something worthy. Connecting people with Supreme God, different paraphernalia like Mahaprasadam, name. So for those causes, one must give charity. So that's the top class, top level of charity. Charity. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna. If you have some more question, you can put in WhatsApp group. We will be very happy to answer. See you once again next week. Hare Krishna.